What's going on, guys? Welcome to another tactical IQ quiz. So the last video I did, I thought it was going to do well, but I had no idea how well it was going to do or how well you guys would respond to it. I love reading through all the comments. I love seeing how well you guys did on the quiz itself, and I love getting all the feedback. Like it was awesome. It was really cool to see that support of the video and how many of you guys were asking for another one. So here we go. In today's video, we're headed all the way back to February 19th, 2022 to watch Tottenham take on Man City. So let's just hop right in the quiz. Question number one, what defensive formation is Tottenham defending in right here? Are they defending in A 5-4-1, B, a 4-4-2, C, a 4-1-4-1, or D, a 5-2-3? So the answer here is a 5-4-1. And what's interesting is they're having Harry Kane kind of sit on the 6, and they're having Bentancur and Højbjerg go in like almost a V formation where one will go out and press the center back, the other will sit on the 8, and they'll kind of go back and forth with one pressing and one sitting. And Harry Kane just saves his energy and stays right there. So question number two, Tottenham now building out. The ball gets switched all the way over here to Ben Davies. He has the ball. He's looking up. Where should this next pass be played? Should he A, play into Sessegnon, his left wing back, who then can bounce it into Højbjerg here in the center? Should he B, try to find this ball over the top into Son here running into space? Should he C, try to find Harry Kane, who's checking into this pocket as Son's leaving? Or should he D, cut the ball and try to play directly into Højbjerg here? As you guys think about this, I just want to preface this and say that yes, in football, there is very rarely one right answer. That's the beauty about this game, is that there's multiple right answers and everybody can play or choose to play in a different way. All of these situations, A, B, C, or D, could be done and they could be done the right way. But for me, I think there's one answer that stands out. And that's where I've tried to find with all of these answers. I try to find a scenario where there's one answer to me that stands out over the other three. I think the right answer is what Ben Davies does here to play into Harry Kane. And I believe that's the right answer because of how obvious this space is going to become with Son leaving it. I think it could work to play into Sessegnon here that bounces it into one of his midfielders, but it's starting to really close up. They're 5 yards apart, and you usually want to try to avoid these really tight passes 5 yards away when you're on the sideline, especially as you're starting to get pressed. I think cutting into this press and trying to play into Højbjerg here could end pretty bad because of the direction of their press here. And you don't want to cut into pressure there, especially with Højbjerg only having a few yards of space. Playing into Son over the top, I don't think is the right answer because of how well it's being tracked with this defender right here and a guy right on his back. You're sending a hospital pass into space, which can easily be defended. So again, I think the right answer is to play into this huge pocket of space, play the ball up, and find your striker. And honestly, Man City started this game with such low energy that it seemed like they hadn't eaten in days, which honestly reminded me that I'm going to need to refuel here soon. And lucky for me, I have Huel, a full meal in 60 seconds, which is also the sponsor of today's video. Huel is an absolute savior for athletes with busy schedules. I've been using all of their products, but I really love their Black Edition powder, which has just been a great addition to my daily routine. If you're like me, always on the go, trying to juggle training, travel, work, family life, then Huel is a game changer. You just add water, scoop it into the shaker, shake it up, and you've got a full nutritious meal in under 60 seconds. The Huel Black Edition powder comes out to only $2.65 a meal, and it's packed with all the nutrients a human body needs, including the right amounts of protein, essential fats, carbs, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. If you guys are interested in trying Huel, then click the link in my description or scan the QR code right here to view their products. And for new customers, be sure to use my discount code ELITE15 to save yourself 15% off your order, as well as receive a free gift. I truly love their product. I've used it multiple times in the past, and I really think that it'll help out all athletes out there, but especially those athletes that want to get highly nutritious meals into their system, but are lacking on time. So once again, click the link in my description or scan the QR code and be sure to use my code ELITE15. Now let's see if Man City can respond with a bit more energy after conceding early here. Question number three, what defensive formation is Man City defending in? Is it A 4-1-4-1? Is it B, a 5-4-1? Is it C, a 4-2-3-1? Or is it D, a 4-3-2-1? Although they're moving around a lot, I think it's pretty clear that they're defending in a 4-2-3-1. Question number four now, another build-out situation from Tottenham. Hugo Lloris has the ball. He's going to play it out wide right to his center back. We're going to look forward, And then now here, where should this next pass go? Should Romero here play into his right wing back Emerson? Should he play into his central midfielder Betancourt here? Should he look for the ball over the top to try to find Harry Kane's feet or his chest for him to hold up the ball? Or should he cut the ball back and play back to Hugo Lloris? Now, this is one where really depending on your tactics and your style of play, and as yourself as a center back, the answers are going to differ. If you really trust yourself, I think it's perfectly fine to cut the ball back, hold off their striker, and try to find Hugo Lloris to move the ball over this other side. I think that's the ideal scenario, but the risk versus reward is really going to depend on your confidence on the ball with your feet there. Because of this press, they're really forcing you out wide, so cutting the ball back here and finding Hugo Lloris is very risky, especially being up 1-0 this early in the game. I just don't know if I were playing center back in that position, if that'd be worth it for me. I think the right answer is to try to clip the ball up and try to find Harry Kane up here. It doesn't work out, but I do think that's the right answer because trying to find Emerson out wide right here, all you're going to do is just stitch him up. You're too close right now. Finding Betancourt in the middle, too close. He's got a guy right on his back, right behind him. You're just asking for a counterattack. So here, I really think the right answer, if I were in his shoes, is do what he did and try to clip the ball up into Harry Kane. But if you want to take a little bit more risk, then you can try to cut the ball back and find Lloris. Question number 5. Tottenham with the ball, plays out to Ben Davies. Davies plays into Sessegnon, and then he's going to make an overlapping run around Sessegnon here. Now, my question is, how should Man City defend against this run? Whose job is it on City to pick up Ben Davies' run? Is it A, Kyle Walker? Should he drop off the ball here, drop 5-10 yards just to prepare for that overlapping run? Is it B, Ruben Diaz? Does he need to slide over and pick up that run? Is it C, Rodri? Does he need to follow that run into space? Or is it D, Foden? The answer is A. You want Kyle Walker to drop 5-10 yards off to pick up that run, and everybody just kind of drop back and get into their formation. You typically don't want to move out of your positioning unless you really have to. And usually as a fullback or wingback, when it's overlapping run, 9 times out of 10, you're going to take the runner, and your wide midfielder or your central mid, or whoever is tracking back, they're going to take the guy that you just left. Question number 6, once again, looking at a build-up situation up this left side from Tottenham. So Ben Davies with the ball. He drives a little bit, really tight over here on this left side. Where should he play this next ball? Should he A, play it into Sessegnon, who can then one time or bounce the ball into Dyer here, who's actually kind of taken up a more advanced positioning? Should he B, try to find Sessegnon, who can open up and then try to find Son up the line here? Should he C, try to find Son, who's checking into feet here, who then can bounce it back to Dyer? Or should he D, try to cut the ball and play directly into Dyer, who then can look up and play into Son's feet? Again, another tricky one. I'm trying to make it a little bit more challenging. And again, I think a couple of these could work out. But I think, again, with how tight it is here, you want to break those lines of pressure. So if you're saying Sessegnon into Dyer, I get it. But again, I think there's a better answer. Question number 7, Tottenham just won back the ball here. They're being repressed very heavily by City. Dyer now clips in the ball into Harry Kane. Harry Kane's going to lay it off to one of his center mids here. Where should Son make his run? Should he A, try to pop directly wide, try to get into this wide area to be an outlet pass for Betancourt, for Højbjerg, or for somebody? Or should he make a run directly in behind into this space? Should he C, recognize that Harry Kane has a guy right on his back and need to draw to provide another, maybe a third outlet for Harry Kane to drop or bounce the ball to? Or should he D, make an interior run between these two defenders into this space towards the center of the field? The answer here for me is always going to be B. This is such a classic movement. When the ball gets clipped into a striker, the striker needs to hold that ball and then bounce it off to a center mid who's following up. This is called like an up back through. This movement is a staple in pretty much every single team I've ever played for. Up into Harry Kane, back into a center mid, through to a third man run. Because when Harry Kane checks here, he's bringing a center back who's right up his back. That center back is leaving a huge pocket of space. You can see how aggressive Man City is being. The worst thing you can do as this third man, as Son here, is drop back or get wide and not provide some sort of attacking option in behind the lines. And you can see it's a great option. The ball's a little wide. If it was a little bit more straight, I think it would have been an even better attacking opportunity. but it doesn't work out. But you can see how this is the type of movement you need to do. And that's how Tottenham was able to score 4 minutes into the game. Question number 8 now. So Tottenham are going to be building out, but we're going to look at City's press. And specifically, we're going to look at Sterling. So Dyer's going to play this ball across the 6-yard box into Romero. How should Sterling press Romero? Should he A, do like a more in-to-out press where he's pressing Romero from the inside, forcing him wide? Should he B, try to do more of an out-to-in press where he's cutting off that pass out to the wing back and forcing Romero inside? Should he C, just run as fast as he can directly at Romero? Or should he D, not run at him at all and instead just move into the central area and plug up the middle? I think the clear answer here is you have to cut off that pass out to the wing back. When Romero gets the ball, pretty much every single option of his is completely cut off, or there's a guy right on his teammate's back, except for Emerson. So Sterling has to cut off this easy pass out wide to the wing back, and he needs to do an out-to-in run. There's really only one pressing situation that he does. And you can see as he presses, he completely moves his body over to this far side to try to cut off that pass. And he doesn't actually cut it off, but he does make that pass a lot more difficult. And Romero has to play like a little dink ball, chip ball, and it's like 5 yards short and 5 yards behind Emerson. If Sterling were to do any of the other 3 options, Romero's getting that ball, he's opening up easily, playing an Emerson into space, and Emerson is going to be free, and they're going to break that press. Question 9 now. Tottenham break Man City's press over on this far side. Come over to Davies. Davies is going to play into Sessegnon here. What should Sessegnon do with his first touch or his first pass? Should he open up his body and play into Son, who's making this run down the line? Should he play 1 or 2 touches directly into Højbjerg, I think, right here in the center, who's calling for the ball with his arms outstretched? Should he C, just take this defender on, dribble inside into this pocket of space and look up? Or should he D, try to find a pass into Harry Kane to hold up the ball here? I think the right answer, given with how much space there is in the center of the field, is really to do what Sessegnon does here and go off the dribble against this high press into this space centrally, take your touch inside, and then as soon as you do, I think you have to look for this far side of the field. You take 1, 2 touches inside, you look up, and you maybe hit a long ball into this space. That, I think, would be the ideal situation. Now, I don't personally love this pass into Højbjerg here because of the distance. It's a lateral square pass, almost over half of the width of the field. That is the biggest pressing trigger for any team. You really, really want to eliminate those square lateral balls across that distance, no matter how open this player is, because all it takes is one toe, one poke, one well-read defender to jump that pass, and it's a terrible, terrible situation to be in. Now, I've seen it work, and I don't want to say never hit that. I hit that pass sometimes, but if I were to look up and see this distance and to see this guy with this tight of a man on his back, I would think twice about passing that ball. If you were 10 yards, 15 yards closer, then that would be different. Or if his guy was maybe 2, 3 yards off his back, again, that would be different for me. But I don't love that square pass. Question number 10, Man City has the ball. They're going up against a very low block Tottenham right now. Now Cancelo finds himself in a little area of space. How should he move in order to best receive this pass? Should he drop 5 to 10 yards in order to receive this ball out wide right here? Should he make a run down the line, maybe into the corner flag to try to receive the ball over the top and then he can whip it across? Should he C, make an interior run into this space, kind of splitting these 2 defenders right here? Or should he D, just stay put and wait for the ball to circulate back over to him? Since there's 0 pressure on the ball, and there's no need for you to create a quick passing angle to relieve that pressure, you don't need to drop. You don't need to stay put. You shouldn't stay put, or you shouldn't drop. Especially with, I think, that Sterling checking into this space and drawing out Kulusevski to be right on his back. You want to make an opposite movement to that. Now, I don't think you should make a run just to the corner flag, because that passing lane, hitting it over the top, it's a tough ball. Instead, I think with this big, 10-yard gap, Cancelo makes the perfect idea here, and he's on the same page with his center back, and he makes that run interior right in between this space, right for this passing lane. He keeps himself onside. It's perfect. Just the execution of the pass is a little overhit. but everything about it is great. And I think that's the right decision. If that pass is hit well, he can take a touch and whip across in on the ground with a retreating back line towards their goal, which is super dangerous. All right, so we've got into the halfway point. It's 1-1 headed into halftime. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing decent. I hope I'm making it a little bit more challenging. I hope you guys like that. Now, both teams are going to enter into the locker room. They're going to reevaluate their tactics. They might change up formations. They're going to refuel a little bit with some fast digesting carbs. And speaking of fuel, I need to talk once again about the fuel I've been having over the last few days, which is Huel. Again, the sponsor of today's video. I'm telling you, if you're someone who values your time and your health, this is a no-brainer for you. Whether you're in the gym, at work, or just trying to simplify your life a little bit, Huel's got your back. Like I said before, I've been using all of their products, but I keep coming back to their Black Edition powder because it tastes so good and it's packed with all the nutrients a human body needs. I love it so much because as a professional footballer, I leave early in the morning to go to the training facilities. I eat breakfast at the facilities. I train, I work out hard. I have lunch afterwards, and then I come back home and I enter into full dad mode with a toddler and a newborn. Then with a little bit of free time that I have, I try to edit up these videos. I try to create content for you guys, but my day is packed. I usually don't have the time to prepare this really healthy, great snack for myself. And Huel solves that problem for me. Instead of having that excuse and being able to reach in the pantry and grab something unhealthy, I just grab my Huel and I make a delicious, nutritious meal in 60 seconds. Then I can be right back to dad mode without skipping a beat. They sent me out the chocolate flavor and I've been loving it. I'm a big chocolate guy and it tastes delicious. So once again, if you're interested in trying out Huel, then click the link in my description or scan this QR code right here and be sure to check out all of their great products. New customers, again, be sure to use my code ELITE15 to receive 15% off your order and a free gift. So thank you to Huel for sponsoring this video. Now let's enter into the second half of these questions. Question number 11. Man City with the ball, attacking Tottenham in a low block once again, receiving the ball out wide. There's going to be an overlapping run here, just like in the first half. How should Tottenham defend against this? Should Sessegnon drop 5-10 yards and take that overlapping run and Son go to the ball? B, should Sessegnon stay on the ball and Son take the overlapping run? Or C, should Son and Sessegnon stay put and Davies come over to take that overlapping run? Once again, 9 times out of 10 in this situation, the fullback or the wingback is going to take the overlapping run. They're going to leave the ball and their winger that's dropping down is going to stay on the ball. That way, your winger can stay in front of you, you can stay behind your winger, your center back can stay centrally, and hopefully you guys can handle that. I put this in a second time just to hammer in that point. Hopefully it didn't throw any of you guys off, but again, 9 times out of 10, that's the movement that your winger and your fullback are going to make in that situation. Question number 12, City now with a corner kick. Foden's dropping right to this corner of the 18. He receives the ball. What should his next action be? Should he A, play the ball on the ground to try to find someone centrally right at the penalty spot, maybe to combine, maybe for them to hold up the ball or to turn and shoot? Should he B, deliver a little deep cross towards the near post? Should he C, deliver a cross towards the back post, aiming for this back portion of the 6-yard box? Or should he D, just play it back into Kyle Walker here centrally? I think the answer here has to be C, to deliver the ball to the back post, because that is the hardest ball to deal with as a back line. You're deep in your own box, the ball gets played out there, you have to step your line 5-10 yards up to like the penalty spot. The worst thing you can do is to try to deal with the ball that goes over your head so that you're moving backwards away from your goal to handle or to clear out that pass, especially when we have opposing players running onto the ball. That's a nightmare to deal with. A ball into the feet, a ball into the near post, easy to handle. A ball back to Kyle Walker. Again, step up the lines. It's central. It's not that dangerous. The hardest ball is that ball to the back post. Question number 13. We're going to look at City's recovery defense right now and how they should handle this situation. So Tottenham now kind of in a little bit of a counter, but they're in a good situation. This ball is going to be played into this space. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'll give you a little hint. This ball is going to be crossed in from this situation. How should these two players handle this pass? Should Cancelo drop to mark Kulusevski, I think? Should Laporte drop to mark Harry Kane? And should they pull this midfielder back to mark this run right here? Should they be, again, do that same movement, Cancelo drop to mark Kulusevski, Laporte drop to mark Kane, and then have this, I think it's Gundogan, drop to mark this central guy in this area? Or C, should Cancelo completely forget about Kulusevski? Should he follow Harry Kane's run in front of him? And should Laporte follow this runner who's coming to the box in front of him. I think that in an ideal world, if you could freeze time, A would be the best option, where you pull this midfielder a little bit back and you take each man. But the real world happens way faster than that. It's already too late for A. They're now in emergency defending, and C has to be the right option. Laporte and Cancelo need to worry about the most dangerous runs immediately and forget about Kulusevski out here in the quarter of the 18. Cancelo needs to run and follow Harry Kane's run, and Laporte needs to watch for this run in front of him. And you can see Cancelo doesn't fully commit there. He kind of lets Harry Kane run completely untouched in the box, and it's an easy finish there for Kane and for Tottenham to go 2-1 up. Question number 14, a beautiful counterattack from Tottenham. I'm going to let it go all the way through and then we'll bring it back. One, because it's such a nice counterattack that I want you guys to watch it fully. But the question here is going to be regarding City's defense. I'm going to put 3 little mini mistakes that City makes in order to allow this counterattack to happen, and 1 non-mistake, 1 right decision. And you have to tell me which one is the right decision. So first scenario, Kyle Walker here stepping out to this ball, leaving this man to step out to the ball. Is that a mini mistake, or is that the right decision from Kyle Walker? Now, the body positioning from Ruben Diaz, kind of allowing him to cut inside here, is this one of the 3 mini mistakes that happen, or is that the right defensive positioning? Now, see, Laporte here decides not to step out to the ball. Instead, he stays centrally and almost drops back a little bit. Is that one of the 3 mini mistakes, or is that the right decision in this situation? And finally, Cancelo not dropping all the way in here and kind of staying a little bit wide. Is that a mini mistake, one of the 3 mini mistakes, or is that the right defensive positioning from Cancelo? So again, you might need to watch that back a few times, but there are 3 mistakes and 1 right decision. Which one of those was the right decision? For me, the only right decision was Laporte not stepping here and dropping back, because he recognizes that if he stepped, there'd be a 2v1 on Cancelo. So he stays back and tries to manage that. Every single one of those is a little mini mistake that leads to this complete breakdown from City. I mean, Kyle Walker here, he needs to recognize that it's a 2v1 and that there's nobody really ready to take this run. Or his center back, maybe Ruben Diaz, needs to yell at him to stay back and hold. But they either need to shift over and Ruben Diaz needs to tell him to step to that ball, or they need to hold him back. And in this situation, as you can see, the right decision was to hold back and watch that underlapping run, because it's an easy pass and now Kyle Walker's out of the picture. And then with Ruben Diaz, his body position, he's kind of over committed out wide, which allows Son, I think, to cut inside. That's a little mini mistake. It's not huge, but you really, in this situation, want to keep him wide. The worst thing he can do is cut in, where now you're at a numbers advantage. He cuts inside, and now it's a 3v2 in this situation. I think this is the only right decision. Laporte doesn't step to the ball. He recognizes that he doesn't want to create a 2v1, and he holds. But in this situation now, Cancelo needs to tuck in. He needs to recognize again that Kane is the most dangerous player and that he is wide open to make this run right in between him and Laporte. And he needs to tuck in, bump him, do something, but he stays wide and allows this easy run from Kane right through the middle of their 18-yard box. And it should have been a goal. It could have easily been a goal and could have been 3-1 Tottenham. Question number 15, Man City with the ball. Little great underlapping run from Bernardo Silva, cuts it back and plays into Gundogan on the top of the 18-yard box. Where should Gundogan pass or shoot this ball? Should he A, try to find a clip ball to the back post towards this guy who's raising up his hand? Should he B, try to shoot the ball to the near post? Should he C, try to shoot the ball with some curl on it to the far post? Or should he D, try to find Rodri right here, top of the 18-yard box? For me, if you receive this ball with 5+ yards of space on the top of your 18-yard box, you have to shoot it. Unless there's someone who's in an obvious goal-scoring chance that's in a better chance to score than you. But other than that, you have to shoot this. And there's 3 bodies in front of him towards the near post. The clear answer is to try to curl this to the far post. Now, I don't think this is a good opportunity to clip the ball to the back of the 6-yard box because of how deep and how set Tottenham are. They're on their 6-yard box facing out, so there's no space to try to get that ball over the top. Or there's a little bit of space, but it has to be absolutely perfect, or else it's going to go over and out of bounds, or it's going to be an easy clearance for Tottenham's back line. So here, 5 yards of space with the defenders in front of you, shoot towards the far post and try to curl it in there. It's a great shot, great save, out for a corner kick. Question number 16, City once again on the attack. Tottenham with like a line of 7 across their 6-yard box. Cancelo now receiving the ball inside the 18-yard box. He wants to cross this ball, but what should he do? Should he A, try to do a dink ball towards the back post, maybe towards the back of the 6-yard box? Should he B, try to lace the ball or hit the ball hard on the ground towards the near post? Should he C, try to shoot the ball towards the far post with his right foot? Or should he D, try to cut the ball back to Kevin De Bruyne, who's on the top of the 18-yard box? Now, this is one where I actually disagree with what happened in the game. Cancelo chooses to use the outside of his right foot to kind of clip the ball, chip the ball to the back of the 6-yard box. It's not a bad decision. It's a dangerous ball. If anybody was really attacking that, I think that'd be great. But look, I mean, Kevin De Bruyne is so open here. And like I said, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players pretty much inside of their 6-yard box. Whenever you see this many players this deep, the cutback pass has to be the option here. Question number 17. Tottenham now with the ball and the getting into the attacking half. Little great combination here. Kulusevski bounces it wide. Ball gets dropped back into the center midfielder. But where should this ball go next? The ball's going to come back. Should he play it 1 or 2 touches back to his center back here for them to go over to the opposite side of the field? Should he bounce it right back this direction? Should he turn up the field and clip the ball into space down the side of the field for maybe Kulusevski to turn and run onto? Or should he receive the ball, turn, and look centrally in for Son or for Harry Kane towards the center of the field? I don't think A is a bad option if you're looking to retain possession of the ball. But given Kulusevski's movement and how kind of disheveled Man City's back line is, especially over here on this left side, you have to hit this ball over the top into space here for Kulusevski. And this is a movement that a lot of teams work on a lot. We've worked on it a lot with Detroit, where it comes into the central midfielder and he just hits it first time into this space with a winger who's already anticipating that. It's a really tough ball for a fullback to deal with. That ball over the top because he's turning, running, and a lot of times the winger's running onto the ball and has the momentum, especially when you see the fullback out of position because he's just done a defensive action or something like this. It's a hard enough ball to deal with when you're in the right position, but when you're out of position like this, it becomes impossible. You can see now Kulusevski gets onto that ball, gets into a good area, and now for question 18, where should he play this ball? Should he A, hit this ball laced on the ground for the top of the box, right here for more of a cutback cross? Should he B, just pass the ball to this player sitting right on top of the 18-yard box for him to shoot, for him to cross the ball or deliver the ball? Should he C, cross this ball across the 6-yard box for one of his attackers right here? Or should he D, with the left foot, hit a shot curling to the far post? Now, I know I've said this a million times, but I don't think B is the worst decision right here, especially as you're coming back on your left foot. I think this is a really dangerous area to play the ball into for your center mid, for him to then deliver from this angle. That's a really dangerous ball to deliver. However, I think Kulusevski makes the decision that he makes because of how unorganized City's back line is. They already were unorganized with that initial ball. And now as he's looking up, he's seeing a lot of space towards the front post. Maybe he's seeing 2 versus 3 here. And most of the time with how organized City are, this is just the time to exploit them when they're not set in a line of 4 or a line of 5 right here. So he does what he does. He delivers that ball right across the 6-yard box. And as you can see, it's a great ball. I also think, too, given the time frame, I mean, we're in the 95th minute, you have to take some risks now. It's not about retaining possession. It's not about playing the ball back towards your own center mid. You have to get balls into the box here, and it works out. It's a great ball. Question number 19 now, 98th minute. City with a free kick. They play it wide. Where should this ball be delivered now? Should it be clipped towards the back post for City attackers to run onto? Should it be driven hard on the ground across the 6-yard box? Should it be cut back here for maybe one of his center backs to run onto and have a wonder strike top of the 18? Or should he just shoot it himself from this angle, maybe low, hard towards the far post? This is one where I don't think you can argue. When you see this picture and you are pretty much ahead of the back line and everybody's just in a mess of the line, retreating towards their own goal. You have to smash this on the ground across the 6-yard box. Not only is that a dream ball for your strikers, but it's also a nightmare ball to deal with as a defender, sprinting back, trying to deal with the attacker, bumping him, running back, ball's whipped in. That's a nightmare ball. All you're thinking about is own goal, deflection, or something. You have to hit this hard across the 6-yard box. And Foden does exactly that, whips the ball hard across the ground, and it's fantastically, is that a word? Fantastically. It's dealt with amazingly. Finally, question 20, 99th minute of the game. Keep that in mind, last seconds of the game, receiving the ball here right now. Where should this next pass be played? Should he play it here into one of his, I think that's Harry Kane actually right there. Should he find this player in this pocket of space to hold up the ball? Should he C, lay it off to one of his defenders so that he can get wide and attack up the line? Or should he D, just clear the out of the ball up the field? Now, in practically any other minute of the game, the answer would be B. But given that this is the 99th minute, you're up 3-2 to City, and we're already over the allotted extra time, you just clear the ball. You just have to kick this ball as hard as you can down the line and hope that's the moment that the referee blows his whistle. So anyway, now it's time to tally up the scores. If you got 16 to 20 points, congratulations, you're in the pro level category. If you got 11 to 15 points, we're gonna say that's the semi-pro level. If you got 6 to 10 points, we're gonna say that's the amateur category. And if you got 0 to 5 points, once again, you need some work. And I don't think I got anybody in the 0 to 5 category, so that's really good. Or maybe nobody's admitted to it. Once again, please give me your feedback below. Let me know your scores. Let me know what category you fell into. Let me know if you disagreed with any of my analysis, if you thought there was a better option. Let me know everything in the comment section. I really do read all the comments. I just don't have enough time to respond to them all, but let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be more of these with just how much you guys like them. So this will become a series for sure. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Like the button if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see more content. I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, guys, peace.